So thank you, Scofflaw, as always, for sponsoring the podcast. Sorry we're not drinking the beer.
I agree. I will be soon. Don't worry.
I'll be drinking when I get home because I got plenty at the house.
There we go.
But my brother, so I went to MC last night, and he stayed at the house, and I'm like, don't drink all my Scofflaw. I got to have some for tomorrow. Get home, it's like 1 6-pack left.
Right. Of course. That's plenty, though, for a Sunday.
So you got here when you were 7, right?
Yep.
And
no, 4. But same
4,
thing.
I'm sorry. And what did you do when you first got here? Where did y'all first
South Florida. I think my dad was working for Megabyte America at the time.
Megabyte America.
You remember that old logo?
Yeah.
Dude, that's just like a old school thing you never think about anymore. Something to do with servers and fun stuff like that. We lived in South Florida just, until I was about 11. I think at that point we moved just outside to Lawrenceville, just outside of Atlanta. I did most of high school and everything there, and to college I went to Georgia Tech first, right out of high school. Figured that wasn't exactly where I wanted to be at the time for some reason, although now it would be one of those things that, now I'm 25, I could be like, yeah, I could go take some classes and study some design stuff and incorporate it into building guitars. That would be awesome, but at the time, I think I was like 19, my first year of college. Just kind of looked around and was like, I don't know if this is, I still wanted to be a rock star at the time. So bailed out of Georgia Tech. My parents convinced me to try Georgia State with the kind of music school.
Graduated from Georgia State?
You did?
I did.
Right on. I would have if they, it just at the time didn't work out. I tried to audition for the music school, and I've never been minus high school band and all that stuff. I've never read music on a guitar or anything. I'm all ears. So a big part of that audition was, of course, was reading music, and that didn't happen.
So how did you get into... Well, first, we got to preface this. Episode number 49 of the Scout Podcast. It's Tomas Holgado.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Oh, I did it. Yes.
Nailed it.
Of Holgado Guitars.
You got it.
I'm killing it, man.
Got it. 2 for 2.
Man, I knew not drinking beer would keep my mind
the
fresh.
Coffees, man. It's the... Should we endorse the...
He's enjoying some coffee. I got the decaffeinated tea.
I'm going to spin it.
I think they call that brand infringement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if they want to pay, that's cool.
Hey, pay me all you want. I'll endorse anything for money. It doesn't matter what it is. You pay me enough, I'll do it.
Sign me up too.
I'll endorse a grind. So I had this conversation with Phil before you got here. We were talking about it. And they go, would you endorse a grinder if they paid you enough? Hell yeah. Right I'll send guys over to the website,
Those guys play guitar, I guess.
If you play, you don't what's it called? You don't discriminate, man. Thank you. Yeah.
No,
play guitar, that's all you need.
That's all.
So how did you get into the guitar business?
I think it was a combination of playing guitar for a while, working for a local backline company, Avatar Events Group. Spent a lot of time on a bunch of stages, setting up, breaking down, a lot of big festivals, Music Midtown, Shaky Knees, seeing big artists, seeing kind of that lifestyle, seeing a bunch of tour buses and everything around me, watching these guitar techs. It quickly kind of became, okay, are you going to keep plugging away at trying to be a rock star? Or are you going to kind of see what you can make out of all this that you have around you to stay in in at least a positive atmosphere that I want to be in? Surrounded by musicians and hopefully doing something cool with my hands. There was a school called Atlanta Guitar Works. One of those weird moments where you Google guitar building school, and there's one in Michigan, there's one in Nevada somewhere in the mountains, somewhere in Tennessee, very obscure little spots. And then there was one in Atlanta, and I was like, okay, no, we have to check this out now. So I followed up. It was a school in Lilburn. It's like a 6-week course, Monday to Saturday, all day. We, couple kids from out of state, rented rooms there. It was just 3 of us and 2 teachers, so it was a super kind of personal thing. That was the first kind of big initial investment in all of it. And we didn't really know if it would be something that I could proceed forward with and really work with, but I had that avatar thing of getting me on stage all the time. So I was hoping to at least grab those things and somebody would say, hey, we need a guitar tech, and I'd start that way, at least in a venture of the road. But it's been mostly home-based, man. It's been...
Now you got your own business.
Dude, it's a lot, yeah.
I bet that was tough getting it out off the ground, though.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of, in the middle of that. as much business as I've had. I've even recently discovered through an awesome customer of mine who's a kind of a SEO specialist, search engine optimization. My business just wasn't even popping up on search engines. First off, because of a security thing, the HTTPS, a couple other little just back end SEO things that, I'm plenty good at computers and such, but there's an extent, there's a limit, that to what I can do. So I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface of really broadening, out to the whole city in that sense.
And what do you like about doing what you do here in Atlanta?
Atlanta's full of musicians of every variety, and you can't make assumptions about anyone who walks in the door. I think the coolest part about my little atmosphere is that generally the customer will hang out, have a beer, have a coffee, whatever. I have a big open space for them full of my guitars, amps, other guitars, just stuff to noodle around with. Generally, the repairs take 45 minutes to an hour, so if you schedule an appointment with me, we hang out. But it becomes almost like a therapy session, much like a barber, a hairdresser, or a bartender, or something of the sort. You end up spending an hour just picking this person's brain, and everybody's got a different just kind of story and idea and end goal with their instrument, and it's just that's a lot of the beauty of it.
So you repair, do you build?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. So most of what I do is build from scratch.
Wow.
Kind of that's what I spend most of my days doing. I wake up, go down to the wood shop. I'm currently working on mostly commissioned builds, which means a customer ordered something. We talked through everything and picked lumber, picked pickups, kind of the whole top to bottom. So I'm currently finishing up my last couple of those and kind of heading into the new year and the holiday season with kind of some expectations of stuff. Hopefully crank out 3 or 4 guitars by then.
Now, do you ever see people playing your guitars, like on stage?
I have not, I don't think, seen my guitar on a stage yet. There are plenty of musicians out there with my guitars now. I think almost 10, I think.
Wow.
And I'm rolling so fast that I'm not doing well enough to keep track. I was talking to my lady the other day. I said, man, I got to actually stop and take pictures of everyone and put them in a folder and organize them in order. Because now there's 12 or 13, like I said, and 8 or 9 of those are actually sold to customers. The other ones are either mine or my friends, whatever. First ones I did. So once that gets to 25 or whatever, I'm not going to be able to remember that order and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to happen sooner than later. So
now that's building a guitar has to be such a complex yet simple, not simple as an easy, but like a beautiful kind of process.
It is, man. And the best thing the old man who taught me everything was that he would say is to not reinvent the guitar. And we're seeing huge companies these days making kind of dumb decisions about trying to reinvent the guitar, and it's really not going well. So you have to kind of respect it for what it is, create your own process, and then somehow find something that differentiates you from, because there's a lot of people building guitars, and then there's huge companies using huge machines that makes it a lot cheaper. And
now, how long does it take to make a good guitar?
We like to say, at school they would say 40 hours, and I think that's still reasonable. Sometimes I can cut out a guitar, like a Telecaster is a flat body, if you will, top routed. I can make the body in almost an hour and a half if I really sit down and do it. The neck is the only thing really I glue the fretboard on, so that has to go overnight. A Telecaster can be maybe 20 hours.
Wow.
Excuse me. An intricate Les Paul with kind of a carve on the top, maybe 40, 50. You're spending probably 4 hours just kind of scraping out with a piece of wood.
Now, you've got to hate it when you see musicians smash guitars on stage.
Oh, man, yeah. And I've even got the poster in my shop to remind me. I've got the Pete Townsend poster that this guitar has seconds to live, and he's got it over his head. Like it happens. I try not to sign up for fixing those, at least. At that point, you gotta own that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of fun stories, and Atlanta's great for that. Especially just across the board. You get old school church musicians, you get punk rock dudes, you get dudes from this neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? You get kind of older guys that collect guitars, you get 17-year-old soon-to-be rock star kids like me, like I was at one point.
Someone that knows nothing how to play, does it just buying their first guitar?
Just wants to, can you just make this more awesome?
But that's got to be cool for you.
Oh, dude, it's awesome. Yeah. I'd like to say me and some hairdressers and stuff, like my lady, I always say we're in the luxury service industry in the sense of like people don't really need our services to survive. You know, sure, like a real professional guitar player needs a guitar tech, and people don't need the crazy hairdo or the $300-$400 process, whatever. But it's something that they want, and they're already kind of coming to us as like, this is going to be awesome. I'm not worried about the 60 or 80 or $100 that I'm going to spend. I'm just so excited about this end goal and this process. I used to work at an auto repair shop, and that taught me a lot about managing a business and blah, 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 which I am not the best at still, but just that atmosphere of, you know, you call somebody and you're like, hey, man, how you doing? How's your day going? Oh, good, until you called because you're about to tell me I owe you $800 for my brakes. And it's like that service industry is like people are like, ugh, all right, yeah, swipe my Amex, you know. I never get that. I always get like, dude, I'm so excited. Okay, here, take my card. I got to go home and play. Like, and that ends up being awesome, you know. That's really, really fun. And that kind of is the other beauty of not having to, you know, some people drop off their instruments and say, I'm out of town until Thursday. I'll pick it up then. Cool. But generally the beauty of it is you get to schedule an appointment, hang out for 45 minutes. And
Now, where do you do Holgado guitar work?
in my house, in my basement, and I've got a big old shop, a huge outdoor shed in the back where I build.
So people just come over, they hang out, they drink beers, and
hang out with the dog.
Yeah.
It's a really cool, inviting space. And it doesn't feel, as soon as you walk into the basement, I guarantee it goes away that it's not some dude's house with insulation and stinky basement thing. We really worked really, really hard. Started with completely gutting it, resurfaced the floor, painted all the walls, new AC pipes everywhere and everything, all new power around. And we built it as kind of a just big walk-in, almost on a stage when you walk in, a bunch of instruments facing you, and then behind that is the kind of work area for me. There's a bar that I built so customers can kind of hang out and watch, or you're free to peek around my shoulder.
I got to come see this sometime.
It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun.
Now, you say your lady. You haven't said it was just like...
I'm sorry, my lady, Emma, yeah.
Yeah.
This
is
my
your girlfriend?
for a couple of years now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she's great.
You didn't bring her?
Well, I didn't know she was invited. Maybe next time.
Always invited.
Aha.
Oh, man.
She's on the way back from a wedding, and I actually, I was going to say, I bailed on a random wedding to be at this, so I'm super excited.
Dude, dang. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to keep you from the wedding.
No. There will be more random weddings. Don't worry.
So I was the best man at my best friend's wedding back in July, right?
Right on.
It was down in Panama City Beach.
Oh, yeah.
We got tore up off $3 pina coladas and $2 beers at the Tiki Bar.
My head already hurts.
Oh, man, it was so much fun. But no one was acting like they were having a good time when I first got down there, right?
Right.
And everyone was just really stressed out about the
wedding shit, yeah.
And I was the only single guy. Everyone else was married or long-term relationships.
Sure.
I went down there by myself. First time I'd had a vacation since like the summer before when I went to Vegas 3 times. And I'm like, screw it, I'm here by myself. So I went out and I met tons of women and was hanging out. And then an hour before the ceremony, it was on the beach. I shaved my head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
She hated it.
Yeah, I'm sure she was not.
Her face was priceless. And now she loves it. And I'm growing it back for the winter just because. So I always wear a hat now.
I'm growing mine back out too, if you can see.
I know, it's doing really great. I think you're going to eventually get there.
I think so.
I had super long hair, just a little shorter than that when I was in high school.
I saw a picture surface on Facebook of you, and I think I did see that.
Back in the day, man. Back in the day. Now my hairline's such shit.
Mine just hides behind the wig. It's all good.
I'll be 30 in the wig.
Yeah. It's just on there real good, man.
It's just really super tight.
A lot of super glue.
Yeah. I'll be 30 in June.
Right on.
Ugh, depressed about that.
30, now take it on, man.
But people say the 30s is great.
I was going to say, 30s these days is...
And you're 25?
25.
I got engaged when I was 25.
I'm not going to get engaged. I love my lady very much, but we're just not getting engaged yet.
Yeah. Hold off on that.
No, it's for no reason of that, but... We got stuff to conquer first.
There you go, man. That's what I should have done. But life lessons, right?
Mm-hmm.
We ended that when December of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So 2017 was just a
wide open
party year.
Yep.
I did a lot of partying, but it was funny. It was as much partying I was doing. It was the best professional year for me ever. It was when I got my own show on rock and started the podcast. It's so funny. This podcast just started out as me just having an excuse to hang out with bands and get.
It's kind of almost the hidden thing that originally started for me too. Was like, well, again, like I said, this is kind of how I'm going to hang out with bands, and I would watch these guitar builder dudes who build guitars for Queens of the Stone Age, and this guy and that guy, and there's buddy with a picture of my guitar, and I was like, huh. Okay.
Yeah,
I can get there somehow. I can still make it to that stage.
Yeah, it was just an excuse for me to talk music with people that I loved talking music with, and because I love talking music all the time, or just bullshitting. Yep. But I started the podcast because when I got my own show on rock, I was like, okay, how am I going to make myself different from other radio personalities in Atlanta? And you got to take that jacket off at some point, man. People got to see the suspenders and all that, man. This guy is to the nines right now.
Let's do it.
This guy's tatted up. I want to get my first tattoo so bad.
Yeah.
My mother keeps saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
I got my first one, bless my poor mom, when I was like 16.
Poor mother.
And I came home, it was the Beatles one, and I came home with it wrapped up in plastic. And I had like been bullshitting with her that, I'm going to get a tattoo. She was like, no, you won't. No, you won't. She definitely wasn't supportive of it. I came home with it like wrapped in plastic, and she was like, oh, like, is that what it's going to look like? She stared at it, and she like realized, and poor thing, her heart almost stopped, but a couple more later, and she's just like, oh, you got another one, did you? Just the effect wears off at least.
Mothers, you got to love them,
Poor
man.
mom, I love my mama.
Moms are the best. I love my mom. She's my biggest fan and my biggest critic. Devout Baptist, so she's like, Jackson, no one wants to hear about that on a rock station. Mom, everybody wants to hear that on a rock station. Everybody wants me to be vulgar and edgy. It's a rock station. Yep. But anyway, going back to the podcast. So I was like, how am I going to make myself different from every other radio personality in Atlanta? Mm-hmm. And I knew the Ides of June real well. I grew up with Clay and Dusty. We're all from Blairsville in North Georgia. I go, no one is talking about the rock scene here. No one's focusing. Amazing, Like stations are playing the music on the weekends.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I always noticed too when I was trying to be a musician in this city.
Like they'll play the songs, but no one's getting to know the bands. No one's hearing their stories. No one's going out to the shows and supporting them. And now I MC for all these bands. Like I was emceeing for Flashback Flash and the Fill-Ins last night at Smith's. And so I kind of tapped into a niche market, and now I'm getting emails from...
That's the first message I ever sent you was like, hey, dude, I've seen you at like 4 or 5 shows.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere without seeing you. And this guy, too, behind the scenes over here, is at every show. And that's just one of those things. I remember the first message I sent you was like, when I was a musician trying this, I don't think I ever had that. Even the presence of somebody from the radio it's just enough to kind of put those bands on stage on that, like, ooh, tighten up. There's some dude here from Rock 100. It's just, even that further away element of, just being there and actually showing face and stuff is huge. And it's just something, I don't think the city had seen in a long time.
Well, because a lot of the radio...
super cool.
Oh, yeah, no, I love doing it because a lot of the radio people will think, okay, I'm the radio personality, that's the local band. Yeah. No, it's right here.
It should be, yeah.
It's even. Yeah. Radio personality, band.
Yep.
It's...
Commercial music these days has almost created a big no man's land in between a local band and a commercial band, and I wish that wasn't so daunting.
Yeah.
I wish there was more of a... And it's even like the right video or something, or the right guy working on your record, that immediately puts you into that past no man's land thing.
Yeah.
You get with the right producer and he puts his name on your record, and somebody's going to listen to it because that guy said it's cool. It's a weird thing like that, but
it's a great relationship for both of us, like me and the bands, because they'll have me MC. It's good exposure for me.
Yeah, it's mutually beneficial.
But I'll get like record label people from LA now emailing me like, "Hey, we got these bands. Could they come on the podcast?" I'll be like,
super cool.
But I'll be like, well, are your bands coming to play a show in Georgia or Atlanta? They'll be like, no. Oh, I'll be like, the podcast is only for either Atlanta bands or bands that are coming through Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like I've interviewed Def Leppard or Skillet.
Yeah.
I just interviewed Ann Wilson from Heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fun.
But people that you have to come through Atlanta or be playing a show here to come on. Got to keep the scoped thing alive.
Got to keep it scoped.
Got to keep it scoped.
I like that.
I don't know how I came up with that name. That's a great name.
That's good. Yeah, it works great.
It's perfect.
For the podcast, yeah.
And so, how long have you been working with bands here in Atlanta?
That's well, before I was kind of taking care of all their guitars, doing a bunch on, like I kept saying, working backline. I was on a bunch of stages. Spent a lot of time at the Masquerade, at the Tabernacle. God, I remember some 15, 16-hour days at the Tabernacle.
I was just at Slaughter Q at the Masquerade.
Oh, yeah. and the new Masquerade, no less. This might be jumping forward, but after spending so much time at the Masquerade, I was able to acquire some of that lumber from the old location before they closed down, and it's actually what I use in some of my guitar builds.
Nice.
So I've actually kind of, I did my best to keep that old location alive in just a couple of cool instruments. I only had enough it's going to be about 8 total, and I think I've made about 4 or 5 now. There's a really cool band called Toro in Atlanta. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Heard the name.
They're really good. They're doing big things. They got a guitar and a bass, and they're definitely on their way up. So that'll be kind of my first, a musician that's really kind of on their way, and it would be awesome to grow with them and eventually hit the road with them, take care of their stuff too.
That's a shit, man. I love that. And the cool thing is about Atlanta is there's always great music going on anywhere. Like any of the venues, like last night I was at Smith's, but if you had been at the Earl, if you had been at the Masquerade, 529, just always cool music going on. Yep. And I think local music has taken a turn from what it used to be, like in the 90s or 80s. Like local music was cool, and you always wanted to go out see it. And I tell all the bands now, people won't go see a local show unless they've heard you before or gone online and looked at your music.
It's a weird, how hard is it to get somebody to pay $10 at the door or something? Why is that a complaint? But you'll pay $11 for a fancy drink somewhere, no problem. Sometimes things like that sway people immediately, and that's one of the weird quirks about that. The other always popular argument is, do you start the show at 8 or do you pull a 529 and start it at 11 and go till 2 in the morning or whatever?
Oh man.
Like I said, I'm 25. I can't barely hang out till midnight anymore. I'm like putting napkins in my ears and stuff. I'm like, what's happening, man?
I was emceeing at the Claremont till 2:30 on Thursday.
Dude, last time I played the Claremont, we didn't get on stage till 2 in the morning, and it was still a blast. But
it's so much fun.
Ouch. Yeah. Yep. But yeah.
Wait. So, what were we just talking about?
We were running on, I think, kind of the music venues and.
It was something.
The local scene and kind of, the Masquerade guitars and all that fun stuff.
It's the suspenders, man. The suspenders and the tattoos are getting me.
Throwing you off.
They are.
I got more shirts coming soon.
I want a shirt, man. I gotta get a shirt.
I got more coming soon.
That is awesome.
I
don't think I could pull off the suspenders like you, though.
Hey, man, you just gotta put them on and get outside.
I love it.
That's kind of it.
So what is the end goal for Holgado Guitar Works?
So I'm doing my best. Most of the kind of doing some personal transitions as well in other business ventures, just to kind of create a little separate income here. That way, most of the income for Holgado Guitar Works can really kind of go back into it, because I have my feet kind of in the ground. I have a great customer base. I have a lot of repeat customers. I have people constantly contacting me for work. But now to kind of get to that, instead of being just a local repair shop, I'll always be the local repair shop, but I want to be kind of a builder first. And I want to have, ideally, a small empire of revolving around that. Buy a great warehouse somewhere in Decatur. I think that plan revolves mostly around kind of some commercial exposure, which means probably touring with some commercial bands, if you will. Right. I just got off the road with a band called Kaleo. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
Dudes from Iceland. I was taking care of both of those guys' guitars. Things like that, and tours like that, what I'll probably do is bring a guitar with me, one of my own personal ones. And once I develop, a certain relationship with the musician, be cool for that person to start playing my instruments with my logo on them. At that point, if you get a rig rundown, Premier Guitar World Magazine, anything like that, if your artist is in the right spot, they're going to say, hey, man, what gear are you using? Dude, what's that Tele you're using? What's that Les Paul you're using? That's kind of how you go from building a couple guitars a month to okay, now you have 20 and 30 guitars a month ordered. Let's go move to that warehouse over there. Let's buy 4 of each of these tools. Let's bring 2 more dudes on and start building some serious guitars.
And people don't understand what goes into people working behind the scenes, like guitar techs and setups. Can you imagine what Metallica people have to go through?
Dude, if I could, which is another idea to bump heads with this guy, if I could make a show and if I could find a band that would be okay with it, of me being like having almost a stage manager, being a full backline tech and guitar tech, and just strap a GoPro to my chest for just one day and make a couple episodes out of it for people to see really what goes on in a full production like that. It's a nauseating amount of work.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And then the tour thing, this was my first kind of proper tour. I'd spent a lot of time on stages and such. The only foreign thing for me was packing it all up, putting in a trailer, then getting on a bus and going somewhere else. And hopefully you didn't forget your shower shit in the last venue or whatever, you know? So I don't know, just that whole operation opens and closes in one venue, gets on a bus, and then goes somewhere. And then you got bands like what was weird is we kept bouncing around cities, and Bruno Mars his tour happened to overlap with ours. You know, he was playing giant arenas and we were playing tabernacles, if you will, right? But his tour would overlap with ours, and we were rolling with 2 buses and 2 trailers. This dude had 16 semis and 8 tour buses, and that the same thing, man. They show up in the morning, unpack, build the stage, play the show, and then leave that night. And it's whew, the operation, man.
Like Metallica, when they came through SunTrust Park.
Oh yeah.
We put up a video on our website of, the setup and all.
Like a time lapse?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh my gosh, it was exhausting just watching it.
Yeah.
I had that moment, how you said you're looking kind of, that blow up stage, like someone playing your instruments or whatever. So I kind of had one of those a couple months ago. You know the band Ghost?
Oh yeah.
So I interviewed Tobias Forge from Ghost,
cool.
And we had such an amazing conversation. And then I wake up Monday morning, it got picked up by Blabbermouth, Loudwire, Ultimate Guitar, went completely viral.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the hell?
That's kind of that weird moment. And I'm sure you were just sitting on your computer and you're just like, oh.
No, I was actually looking through Blabbermouth for because I searched stuff like that to write stories on for our website. And I'm looking and the title says, Tobias Forge at Ghost critiques lack of ingenuity in today's rock scene. And I'm looking at the title and go, oh, that's cool. I just talked to them about that last week. That's cool. And then I look and I see.
Look through and you're like, oh.
And then I'm reading the description. I see, Tobias recently spoke with Rock 100.5 in Atlanta. And I'm like, I sprint down to my boss's office. And I'm like, Greg, look what happened.
Dude. Yeah.
I went viral.
That's awesome.
And he looks at me and goes, good, you're doing your job.
There you go.
I'm like, you ass. I was like, you dick.
Party. Yeah. That's kind of the moment. I mean, it's not exactly about going viral in the sense of I never want to, like any band and all that said, I never want to be Gibson in the sense of just
Tomas is calling me a sellout.
Right, yeah, of course. Yeah. Write it down. I never want to make, kind of nameless guitars that nobody touches and just some robot cuts out and put a logo on it and send it out.
Yeah.
I'd always like to keep that personal element, and I'd always like to keep, even if at that warehouse we offer the front of it is kind of a bar, coffee shop, record store atmosphere with, you make appointments online a week before. You come hang out for 2 hours, have a beer. There's other musicians there. You're getting your guitar fixed. There's 3 repair desks there with guys that I've hired working and a bartender taking care of you. Maybe like a GoPro on top so you can see what they're doing. Mm-hmm. That would be a cool idea. And at that point, that could be like Nashville has Groom Guitars and Nashville has, the other huge shops, and Seattle has Emerald City. Atlanta doesn't have that kind of countrywide known. Dude, have you heard of that guitar shop that you can go have a beer and get your stuff fixed, and he builds guitars right there?
Well, one thing I'd love to do, crazy, but I'd love to get me and Andrew over at Holgado Guitar Works, and we do a live podcast of you repairing a guitar or building one, and we can just sit at the bar, have beers, scofflaw beers. Yeah. I'm so mad that I didn't bring the beers.
It's all good. All good.
I thought you were going to bring beers.
Yeah, but this is like I said, as soon as I got off the exit, I was like, "Oh man, this is the land of no gas stations and no quick. I just need to run in for a 6-pack."
I know it's so annoying.
Yeah, that's
now across from our condo that me and my brother got. You got the Publix right there. So it's right across the street. You walk to it. Super convenient.
Yeah, that's great. I literally searched and it said 2.5 miles was the closest one, and I was like, "Oh no, that's gonna add 10, 15 minutes."
Yeah.
So
Atlanta.
I bailed. Yeah.
So I'm from North Georgia.
You were saying Blairsville.
Yeah,
I ride motorcycles, so I'm up there a lot. That's beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Great place to have grown up. It's really cool now, and it's easy because 10 to 15 minutes there is 10 to 15 minutes.
Right.
No traffic. Much longer here.
We take that for granted, man. That beautiful part of North Georgia. It's just like an hour and a half, 2 hours up.
Like I grew up with the lake in my front yard and the mountains in my back. I used to take the boat out, just random, weekdays in the summer.
That sounds okay to me.
Take some of the girls out. We'd all go to an island and yada, 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 barbecue. Just a good time, man. Good time. Man. I love that. I love growing up there. I went there last weekend for some R&R. Hung out with my dad and his girlfriend.
Nice. They still live up there?
Yeah, they do. My mom now lives in Macon. Cool. She has a job that she travels the country all during the week.
Cool.
So my mother...
She's on tour as well. She's a rock star.
My mother was the personal secretary for the Allman Brothers and the Marshall Tucker Band.
What?
Yeah.
What a rock star.
I know, man. She has... she got stories.
That's super cool. My mom works at the consulate of Argentina here in the city, which is funny enough. And she made great friends with a guy Charles, a great family friend of ours who works for, I think, a company called SOS Touring. She ends up doing visas to Argentina for these huge bands for when they're going on tour in Argentina. So she ends up having to, she'll send me, she'll be like, I can't remember the last one. She told me David Byrne, she's done Guns N' Roses, she's done Rolling Stones. Like, a lot of those British dudes don't need visas to go into Argentina, but they, documentation. So she's more of a rock star than I am, of course.
Oh, I love that.
That's how it is.
Yeah, if you get
you can relate, right?
Yeah, if you get one too many glasses of wine, and my mom, she'll tell you stories from the tour.
I'm sure that's super cool.
And I met Greg last time he was in Atlanta before he died.
Wow.
And I was like, Greg, by the way, I'm Jan Heaton's son. And he was like, that woman grew up to have kids. I go, shut your mouth, Greg.
That's awesome.
And now my mom's just devout Baptist, and I tell her she's that.
I think that's the best way to do it. Get live the tour life early, and then once you're a little older, settle it down.
But I got into all this, one because of that my dad raised me on the music from the 70s. But I am to my core a metalhead. Death metal is my favorite.
Right on.
Like my two favorites are Septic Flesh and Die Antichrist.
Septic Flesh. I can't imagine telling my mom I'm in a band called Septic Flesh.
Yes.
Or the other one, buddy came over and mentioned that band, Dying Fetus, who I heard put on a killer show in Atlanta the other night. But one of my buddies went to the show and said, we went and saw Dying Fetus. And that was the first thing I said. I was like, you imagine telling your mom you're in a band called Dying Fetus? No shame on those guys. I have some tremendous band names in my head too, but
anything can be made into a good band.
Oh yeah, especially these days, man. It's been 40 years of band names. Yeah. So now we're getting some weird ones. But.
What do you think about Greta Van Fleet? I'll ask you that.
Oh yeah. They were on my stage at Shaky Knees this year when I was backlining a couple of bands before and after them. I love seeing a lot of people out front in front of a rock band that's not playing the tracks and stuff. There was a lot of people out there.
Playing the tracks, most people won't know what that means.
It's just guitars, drums, and bass. There's no kind of enhancement behind it. There's not a PA system playing a bunch of extra sound effects and such, or keyboard parts and trumpet parts that aren't there and whatever. It's a little bit about integrity, but there's the whole thing. They sound a little like that one band.
Everybody knows
that I can't remember the name of. But there's always huge arguments about it. They're sounding like a band, and then there's maybe taking it a little too far.
Do you think they're keeping that? They're trying to bring back that style?
That's kind of,
or is it a ripoff?
What I'm hoping is, I don't want to call it a ripoff, man, because I don't know those dudes personally, and I don't know that. If I were able to sit down and talk to them, and they were like, "Yeah, man, we're totally just faking this and being a Led Zeppelin thing," then forget that. But since I can't say that for sure, I like Led Zeppelin as much as the next guy, and I'm sure they do too. Like I said, I can appreciate at least that. Even if the message is a little too close to the original for my taste, the message is getting out and people are accepting it. Yeah. That a good rock and roll band can still be. I think those dudes are on the charts and stuff, right?
Yeah. They just put out When the Curtain Falls and it killed.
And a lot of my buddies immediately text me and say, "Dude, what do you think?"
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to disagree with it. And I would definitely fix their guitars and build them one. But
they're making money, so screw everybody.
You got it. They have figured out, they're on that huge stage and I'm not. So
it's I think it's hilarious that everyone hates so much on Nickelback, right?
Poor guys.
Poor guys,
that's
but
just like a custom.
But they're doing it all the way to the bank because
How shameful. I think my first show ever when I was like 13 was either Nickelback or Three Doors Down. Yeah. I got to go ahead and put that one out there to the world.
They don't care. They're making them
better now.
They're one of the best selling bands of all time.
Oh yeah, dude. He's doing fine.
In the 2000s, only the Beatles outsold more than that. Yeah. But you listen to it and they go, it's just hit after hit after hit, and you think after a while, it's like, okay, they're doing this on purpose.
I think somewhere that stuff's probably still on my computer. I could probably dig up a Nickelback.
Oh, dude, I can dig up Nickelback, Hinder, the Lips of an Angel.
I did. I think I went and saw like Stained and Three Doors Down in the same show. That was a good little classic era of that weird kind of 2000s music.
Here's the thing, though, man. Like, even bands right now, like Disturbed just came out with a new album, Shine Down. These are all bands from so back in the day, right?
Yeah, almost.
There are no bands hardly coming out right now, like making it big that are new.
It's a weird time for music, man.
It is, and there's really so many like. In the 70s, 80s, 90s, you had a specific kind that dominated that decade, right? Arena rock in the 70s, hair metal in the 80s, disco, and then grunge in the 90s. Now you just got a bunch of different shit.
It's a good hodgepodge of all that stuff. I think music, if you look at it, has always been about kind of reinventing something and doing something that hasn't been heard, which is why 60s and 70s kind of jumbled together, but getting into the 80s with huge production and crazy amps and crazy amounts of gain and lights and fire cannons. Yeah, let's put all that shit on stage. And then it got to, I don't know. What I'm getting at is now it's evolved to a lot of popular music is less about really relating to it and more about maybe an experience. Like,
does it bother you? It bothers the shit out of me. At award shows, you now have, it's all pop or, rap now.
It's just not.
There's no rock anywhere.
It's. I love old soul music and stuff like that. But I mean to say, if I throw a party at my house with a bunch of girls and dudes and everybody's having a good time, I'm probably not going to have my Sabbath record on. I might have some Marvin Gaye or some Al Green, I'm definitely not putting that stuff in the same boat as pop music today. But
no.
My biggest thing for music and the way I label it without hurting anyone's feelings is integrity. No. Integrity is real important for me. Man, I just watched a YouTube video, Mark Rebelera or something. I could pull it up. This dude, to me, should be on top of it. Blows all the DJs out of the water. This dude with like a keyboard, a laptop, and a sequencer. And he made these incredible songs just with like drum machine, loop, keyboard, loop, bass part, loop, and actually like incredible songs. And some of them are jokes, some of them are hysterical, but like that still has integrity because he made that from here to here and it came out of these speakers.
Yeah.
Not saying that someone, I don't know, the DJ thing does not do that because, I just spent some time on the road with some guys who are very kind of DJ music oriented. It showed me a lot of music that I thoroughly enjoyed listening to. But I still was, after a couple of beers, like, well, he still didn't play it. He made it. So, I don't know. I have personally that weird void of believing the integrity and all that. And then the performance is what kills me too. Just kind of play and lots of people just jump around. But it is what it is, man. You can't change popular opinion, and people will go to what's kind of new and what's, that electronic music is a sound that's never been heard before. First time you heard one of those Womp Womp songs was like, oh my God, what is that? That will always happen. I think that will forever happen. And there will be a band in the future that sounds like another band. Like I keep saying, what if me and my buddies put on, what if I put on a schoolboy outfit and devil horns and you get a bass player, a long hair guitar player, and a drummer, and we if that puts me on stage in Music Midtown, I don't know, is that integrity or is that capitalism, whatever the hell you want to call it?
That's
broadly,
deep, man.
So
deep.
It's a weird. I like my place in music right now because I fix guitars. And a lot of different people play guitars and basses, of course.
Do you lump in integrity with originality?
That's kind of hard because maybe some people would say that my music sounds like this person or too much like this person. So originality is almost like, some people would probably think my stuff is super original and cool and whatever. But that's almost not for me to decide, and I like to just kind of take that organically. Like,
all right, one more thing before we do a constant segment on the podcast.
Okay.
Why do you still play your own guitar? Do you still do you play for your lady?
Yeah, a lot. I write songs for my lady. Yeah.
She's like, okay, asshole, I've heard of this.
I haven't serenaded her in a while. Yeah. Generally, if I get in trouble or if we get into a boo-boo or something, I'll write a song and
it just makes it up.
Yeah, and they end up being damn good songs too. So I'm always like, God, you can't write something like that until I haven't gotten good at separating real emotions from like my songs. I can't just put together a little song like just properly chosen words that could maybe be a radio song, like it's always got to be something that's kind of really messing with me.
It's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. All right, you ready?
Okay.
You know what this is?
No.
You listen to the podcast more.
We're
playing 20 questions.
Oh, fun. All right, cool.
Now, this is rapid fire.
All right.
First thing that comes to your mind. I usually say no musical answers, but you're like a music genius in this part, so do whatever the hell you want.
Okay.
All right.
And you're asking questions.
I am.
All right.
I may answer a couple or now and then. All right. What do most people think about you that is absolutely not true?
That I've toured the world, because I sure have not.
You have not seen all the world.
No.
You haven't been back to Argentina since you were like 7.
Exactly. Right. Or that I've toured more than I have, maybe.
Yeah.
I've only done one really proper tour.
Most of Holgado Guitar Works is spent in the shop.
You got it, man. In the basement.
In the basement, in the work. All right, you have $100 to burn in the whole day to yourself. What are you doing?
I probably can't say that on a podcast.
You can say anything on here. Go to a brothel. I don't care.
No. Definitely not a brothel. $100. That's
I'm going on Tinder, finding a woman, taking her to a rooftop bar in Buckhead, and just getting drunk.
Well, if my lady can come, I'm definitely going to spend it on some nice booze.
There you go.
Going out to a park in front of some water and definitely relaxing. If I had more, I'd rent a jet ski.
Yeah, I might go play me a nice round of golf. I'm a religious golfer.
That's fun.
All right, what are 2 things you should know how to do but don't?
2 things I should know how to do but don't. Fuck, no, this is a good one. Weirdly enough, build a house. I'd love to build my own house one day and build my shop and everything. Another thing I don't know how to do. Something I don't know how to do. Get my business huge SEO and all that fun stuff. the nerdy back end stuff of running a business. Would you
rather be rich or famous?
Rich, definitely. Oh my God, leave me alone.
Screw everybody else, right?
No, absolutely.
I hate everybody else.
Me and my lady on top of a mountain.
Yeah. If you could only hear one song the rest of your life, what would it be?
Snap.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's a good one. The song for me right now, maybe I'd change my mind in 5 years, but that's not for me. Loan Me a Dime, Boz Scaggs.
No. Oh, yeah, I heard that.
Killer old track, really old bluesy organ thing. It just gives me goosebumps every time.
What is the most embarrassing moment of your life so far?
Damn. Most embarrassing. I've been kind of spared most of my life. I haven't had anything horrendously, like, publicly bad. I've never really pissed myself or shit myself, anything like that.
I pissed my bed my junior year of college. I went out and got so hammered that I was laying in bed and I thought I was standing over my toilet in the bathroom and I just pissed in my bed.
Oh man, no. I've seen buddies piss drunk like that before.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, no. Most embarrassing thing. I honestly don't know. We'll skip that one. That's a weird one if you don't mind.
Andrew, it's looking good.
Yeah.
Andrew Riley, Doghouse Atlanta. Check him out.
The dog.
Would Nirvana be as big today if they just came out?
Fuck no.
No, I don't either. I don't think so.
Fuck no.
Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Oh, you asshole. Depends if I've been drinking or smoking.
Stones if you've been smoking?
No, the other way. Beatles.
Oh.
Beatles, for sure.
I can see that. Sorry.
Kind of wake me. There was one, I think it was in Crossfire Hurricane, Keith Richards said, well, they wore the white hat. Somebody had to wear the black hat. And it was talking about those 2 bands, one being the good one being the bad one. Stones were always a little sleazier.
What would you do if you only had a week to live?
Me, a motorcycle, a sidecar, my dog, and my lady. Europe.
Your lady, Emma, right?
Mm-hmm.
She better be very happy because you talk about her a lot. I love it.
She's the best.
Alternative rock or classic rock?
Classic rock.
Right on. All right, if you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time?
Build guitars.
No, something else.
Ah, okay. I like. We recently went to Joshua Tree and saw some amazing stars.
Oh, that's so cool.
I love staring up at the stars. So probably be like really into astrology and everything.
Badass. Yeah, in Blairsville, you get all the stars on the lake. Like
Yes,
take the boat out and just like.
And you get two versions. You get the reflection and the top.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. What hobby would you get into if time and money weren't an issue?
That's cool. Oh my God. Saving all the pups. How inspiring is this? The bus driver on my tour is this dude who's been driving buses for 20 and 30 years. I think his company is called Pilots for Paws. You have to look this up. This rock star tour bus driver has
Pilots for Paws.
Pilots for Paws, I think, has small little planes, like 2 and 4 person planes. Mm-hmm. He flies around the country on his off days saving dogs and like brings them to farms, and he's developing his whole thing as well, where like tour bus drivers and truck drivers, since they're going from point A to point B, if there's dogs that need to be saved here, like in Hurricane Florence and Michael, he's been flying around to those places, picking up dogs and getting them out of there.
That is awesome.
And yeah, I'm a softie for dogs. So yeah, if time and money were nothing, I'd have all the pups.
That's amazing.
Right by your old house in Blairsville.
What is the most annoying habit that other people have?
Fuck, that's a weird one. Kind of thinking they know what's maybe going on in my life or something like that. Maybe immediately deciding that, you know, I don't even want to say judgmental, but maybe kind of being a little judgmental.
When people come to you for help, what help do they usually ask for? Don't say guitars. Yeah.
I don't know. Probably advice. I'm good at talking and stuff. Maybe not even advice, just conversation. Really. Yeah. I'm good to hang out and talk with. And I know.
I want to hang out with you. I want to come to the guitar shop.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you wish you knew more about?
Probably woodworking in general, dude, because I went to guitar building school. I didn't go to woodworking school. So some of the brutal things about like these 60 and 70-year-old dudes who've been using chisels and hand planes their whole life, and I have to use power tools to do some of this stuff. And power tools are somewhat scary sometimes. So I've destroyed beautiful pieces of wood just by like using a router the wrong way and blowing up a chunk of it. Then going to YouTube and being like, no, you got to cut in the direction of the grain, not uphill, downhill, all that fun stuff.
That's got to be piss you off when a good piece of wood gets like, you know, unusable.
I've soiled a couple. It's been a while since I've done that, but yeah.
That's got to be a shitty moment.
Yeah.
What would be your first question after waking up from being cryogenically frozen for 100 years?
Right on. Let's see. Is Keith Richards still alive? How's Keith doing?
How's Keith? Is he still smoking a pack or two a day?
And he's over there like, you know.
What's worth spending more on to get the best?
Say that again, sorry?
And I guess guitar is an answer to this too.
Say that again.
What's worth spending more on to get the best?
What is worth spending more on to get the best? I mean, sure, yeah, guitars, but let's play another game. Beer. Pot. Yeah. All that fun stuff.
Beer, pot, yeah. What's the good shit?
Yeah.
What have you only recently formed an opinion about in anything in life?
Jazz music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I like jazz now.
You like some jazz?
Yeah. I've been putting it on at the shop while I'm working.
What fad or trend do you hope makes a comeback? One more after this.
What fad or trend? Been a lot of stupid ones lately, so a lot of those can die for sure, like that bucket challenge. How about those fun scene pants? You remember the pants with the huge, the thing that like covered up your shoes and the janglies?
Yeah.
Those are fun.
Those are good. Yeah, the ones that, the Jinko jeans.
Exactly, man.
I had some Jinko jeans.
Or the skaters. No, I changed my mind. The skater shoes that looked like you like put a bike pump on them and like the Etnies or the DCs. I had so many pairs of those. They were awesome.
Oh, man.
They're so comfy, too. Just like...
The world was so much simpler back in those days.
Yeah.
Before all the social media shit and... it was just good times.
I was just a South Florida kid with my DC shoes and my seashell necklace.
All right, final question.
All right.
What would you rate an absolute 10 out of 10? Anything.
What would I rate a 10?
What is just an absolute perfect 10 out of 10?
Good answer here.
I do ask good questions.
Damn. Let's see here. There's so many things. I want to say like the perfect Marshall guitar amp that I just got, but that seems so closed. What is 10 out of 10? I don't know. The perfect experience, maybe, man. If we're thinking broad, I think mostly for me, I care about kind of experiences and adventures and stuff.
I say a good getaway, a good weekend
that's
getaway.
Maybe what I'm getting at.
It's just a
like
10 out of 10.
The right one is
I dated this girl who had a cabin up in the mountains, and we used to just go up there. It was on top of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a beautiful house, hot tub right outside there. Yeah. That's a 10 out of 10 kind of shit.
I agree.
Tomas Holgado of Holgado Guitar Works. This was awesome.
Yeah, man.
This was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I'll plug some social media real quick for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Most of my traffic goes to my website, holgadoguitarworks.com. HOLGADO. You can look up Atlanta Guitar Repair or Atlanta Custom Guitars. I should pop up as well. Thanks to my hardworking friends.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you, man. Come make an appointment. Let's meet you and your guitars. Looking forward to it.
Tomas, would you do one thing for me the next time you come on my podcast?
All right.
Love the conversation. Love having you. But next time, will you wear something tight? Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Tomas, Andrew Riley, Doghouse Atlanta.
Cheers.
See y'all later.